Happy Constitution Day, fam. Today, many, many years ago, several men put their lives at risk by signing our founding documents. If you look at the names of who signed and look at their lives and their history, they gave up everything so that we can have independence, so that we can enjoy freedom, liberty, so that we can pursue happiness, so that we would have the right to pray as we wish. We would have the right to speak up against the grievances we may have against our own government. They sacrificed everything. Many of their houses were burnt down, their family members killed, many of them lost their own lives. They were imprisoned. Facing nose to nose against tyranny, a tyrannical king. But yet today, those founding documents are seen as hate speech and outdated. That anybody that believes in them, once again, are considered traitors, treasonous. They are considered hateful bigots and uneducated. Much like in the days when those documents were forged, those that believe in American patriotism are seen now as the enemy of the state, because we once again have allowed tyranny to leak within our walls. How we got here, I mean, I'm pretty sure you all know, but really, I mean, it doesn't matter how it got here. What matters is, what are we going to do about it? We're just going to sit back and let our country be destroyed? Let the founding documents, our Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, our Bill of Rights, fade away into history as just some piece of parchment? Are we going to let the blood and sacrifices of all the veterans that have come before us and gave their lives on the battlefield fade away into nothingness? Make their deaths in vain and obscure? Because we're too obsessed with whether we can have clicks and likes on Twitter or not? I might get a lot of people for hating me for this, but quite frankly, I don't care. Our country means much more than your feelings. The history of this nation was built upon sacrifice and equal values and peace, freedom, and the willingness to sacrifice for something much greater than ourselves. And the future of our children is dependent upon us, whether we are willing to stand up for the preservation, support, and protection of our founding documents. American values. It's not capitalism. It's liberty, freedom, individual sovereignty. We the people. Equal justice, fair elections, medical autonomy, the power of the Constitution is that it gives the power to us, we the people. Every other nation in this world, their leaders, their rulers, tell them what to do. And they have constitutions, but it's not like ours. Their constitution says the government's allowed to do this and the people must follow. Our Constitution says the people have the power to tell the government what to do, and the government must follow. Because they govern by the consent of the governed. What's that mean? That if we don't consent to how they try to govern us, and we can vote them out of office, we can remove them and put in people that can handle the governance of the nation, locally, statewide, nationwide. Because of our consent, we, the people, have the power. The Constitution gives us the power. If our voice was powerless, they wouldn't try to silence us. In January 6th at the Capitol, that was a protest to redress the grievances that we had with our government, to ask our representatives to audit the results of that decision day of elections. And many defended the weak, aided the wounded, protected the vulnerable, spoke up using free speech, peacefully assembling. And they were met with police brutality, political persecution, incarceration, 5 a.m. no-knock raids, FBI counterterrorism SWAT teams. They were labeled as traitors and treasonous, insurrectionists, terrorists, much like the tyrannical king did long ago to our founding fathers. And much like their outcome of life, I guess you could say, many of our political prisoners, political hostages, are being imprisoned, their houses being taken, or lost, their children being taken, their families destroyed. Many of them have lost their lives. And it absolutely blows my mind how many people could just sit back like nothing's happening. There are American citizens that have been denied due process, denied medical care, denied proper food, denied clean water, in conditions that we would only have seen in POW camps in the Vietnam War, or abject violations of human rights, civil liberties. They haven't been convicted of a crime. They're still waiting trial a year and a half later. Solitary confinement. And if they're not imprisoned, many of them have lost their jobs, their livelihoods. They're sitting at home on electronic confinement. They're being bullied by the feds, the DOJ, having to jump through hoops. Myself, I'm out on bond, but I'm looking at like 30 years worth of time because I was at the Capitol. I videotaped. I went around screaming, hey, no violence, no violence, taking weapons away from people, aiding the wounded. I didn't go in the building. I didn't destroy anything. I didn't attack anybody. And unless I assaulted the police officer's nightsticks with my face, I don't know how I'm facing 3 charges on assault. No idea. Speaking up for American values to protect election integrity. Peacefully. At one point, we even had the crowd chanting, "We back the blue." I told several of the police officers there, we are speaking up for your rights as well. It was respectful because they're American citizens. But yet they found it okay to shoot an unarmed woman who wasn't a threat without warning. They found it okay to beat another unarmed woman to death with a nightstick. Bludgeoned her to death. And blasted it all over national TV and saying that she died from a drug overdose. Smearing her name. And then we have the sham committee that is not legal whatsoever, just running people through the mud. Honestly, there's no way to be able to find an unbiased jury now. They blasted it all over the national news. Because, once again, patriots and heroes are deemed criminals because we believe in freedom. Think about that on this day, Constitution Day, the anniversary of the signing of our documents. See how life goes full circle? So we need to stand up, speak out, air our grievances, stop consenting, stop complying with their tyranny. Demand our representatives to do something. Quite literally, our lives depend on it. This little channel that we have here is a call to action. The Brandon administration has turned our national anthem into a form of protest because it gives them PTSD. Because we want to protest the conditions of our country, which they put us in. We want to protest the conditions that our January 6th inmates are being held. And they started this because they sang the national anthem every night at 9 p.m. from their cells as a way to speak up in one unified voice that their love of country is more important. So sing with them. Stand with them. Stand up for American values. Stand up for election integrity. Stand up for your rights, for the Constitution, for the founding documents of our nation that award us the God-given rights of freedom, liberty, pursuit of happiness, so you can enjoy your life as you wish without fear of retribution from Big Brother, because they came after patriots willing to speak up. Next, they're coming after those that aren't so willing to speak up but still don't agree. They'll come after the artists. They'll come after writers and people that say anything against their narrative. Any threat to their power. If we don't stand up now, they will smash and choke out any opposition whatsoever. They have been for the last year and a half. They're still arresting people. They're still destroying people's lives simply for being there. And nobody in their right mind can watch an elderly person getting beaten without stepping in and asking them to stop. So sing with us. Post everywhere, anywhere. Use the hashtag #SingForFreedom. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Sing for freedom. And for all of our vets out there, we thank you for your service. We expect you to honor your oath. I swore it. I was never relieved of that oath when I left the military. Remember that, men and women. We need you. Happy birthday, Constitution.